I just pulled up randomly sitting there. I have the YouTube feed on my computer because I want to look at it.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm listening to the open play, and it's just Tyson Alger just hanging out there. He's on our YouTube page. This actually looks like it's working. i5corridor.com. Go check him out. He is the best in the biz and a good friend of the program. Tyson, can you hear us? Is this working?
Yeah, I appreciate this absolute gambit for ratings here by getting this face across your airwaves. I don't know how many people are watching the YouTube stream, but I'm sure they appreciate it before they're
millions.
talking. So.
Millions of people are watching right now, Tyson. Worldwide, our engineers tell us we're big in the Philippines. It's a whole thing, man. So I don't know if the timing of the audio sets up right. It is. It's actually okay. This is
it
actually
looks good. I'm looking into the stream.
Hey, I just got one quick message before we ask Tyson a question. Suck it, Joey. It works, baby. We did it.
You're welcome.
Couple birds. You're welcome. Hey, Tyson, I'm going to ask you a question that I answered yesterday in a deal or no deal fashion. You have three options: big deal, kind of a deal, no deal. Carlos Locklyn leaving Oregon for Ohio State.
I'm going to say kind of a deal. And I there's no way I can say no deal because I profiled the dude a month ago. I had this off season I was going to do the let's introduce everyone to the assistant coaches, and I might have taken that bait, but obviously Locklyn was a very, very effective running backs coach who did a lot in his 2 years to not only bring in guys like Lucky Irving and Jordan James and Noah Whittington, but he did also a lot to kind of connect kind of the history of that running backs room, and he was very outspoken with how much he admired Gary Campbell and the work and that type of stuff he did there. At the end of the day, the running backs coach isn't the most important coach on the roster. This is one of the very small pieces of attrition the Ducks have had on this staff this offseason. You can get another running backs coach. The one thing that does concern me, though, is, we're seeing Ohio State really kind of load up by poaching UCLA's head coach and now poaching Oregon's running backs coach. And so this is all kind of within the same division. So while I'm not necessarily concerned about Oregon being able to go out and get somebody competent to replace Carlos Locklyn, it does kind of give us a little bit of a view into what might be the early hierarchy of the Big Ten in terms of who has the money to take what.
Tyson, if you go back to the beginning of the Pac-12, what was it, 2011, I think it was, and you go from 2011 to the last year of it, obviously Washington for a couple of years with Kalen DeBoer had a nice fun run. You sprinkle in a couple SC seasons of note. Oregon largely just dominating the conference and feeling like they're kind of a notch above almost everybody else with resources and financial backing and being kind of ahead of the curve, the flashy uniform stuff. It's interesting now they're going to a new conference and you instantly learn they took a head coach and they made him the OC. They took our running back coach who just signed an extension and poached him away. Oregon kind of getting a hello, welcome to the Big Ten. There's another school here that cares a great deal, and they can compete with you in every way, if not beat you in some ways, with how their infrastructure is around the football program. It's a hell of a hello to a conference, is it not?
Yeah, these are the waters that Oregon swims in now. And, as you said, the Ducks have kind of largely been consistently been one of the top two teams in the Pac-12 for the better part of more than the last decade. And while a lot of that has to do with what Oregon has done right, I mean, obviously since kind of the Nike integration of basically since 2000, this has been a winning program. But, the Ducks have also competed in a conference where USC has been down essentially the last 15 years. Washington's been up and down. And those are really the only two teams that have been able to, outside of Utah, that can consistently mount that type of put together that type of season, be that type of program. And so for Oregon to go over to the Big Ten, Ohio State doesn't have the setbacks that Washington does. Ohio State doesn't have the inconsistency that a USC does. And if Ohio State does, you still have a Michigan, you still have a Penn State. It's so more concentrated now in this new era of college football where Oregon is still going to be able to succeed by being it's kind of unique and quirky and that sort of thing. But the bottom line is you're going to have to be a really good, a really sound, and a really consistent football program if you want to be able to mount consistent success in these ultra conferences.
Yeah, Tyson Alger is our guest. At Tyson Alger on Twitter. Go give him a follow. i5corridor.com, the new revamped and revitalized i5 corridor that is covering everything, man. It's been kind of fun to watch and to see the the testimonials that have come in. How has that journey gone for you? And what new thing or new twist have you, like, because you're diving into Timbers coverage, you've been writing some different long form features. Like, what has kind of got you going the most? What have you enjoyed the most?
Fortunately, I haven't had to issue a full on apology correction for my soccer coverage yet. Like we're about a month in, and I'm not saying I've been perfect, guys, but it's been really fun for me. Obviously the Ducks is kind of my bread and butter, and with the corridor, that's also what mainly pays the bills. But kind of getting out of the college football bubble and experiencing not only what Portland has to offer, but just different sports and kind of different nuances. And, I wasn't a huge college football fan growing up. And so I think a lot of my coverage with the Ducks, with whether it was at the Oregonian or the Athletic or now, has actually kind of benefited from kind of having wide open eyes to the sport and seeing a lot of things that, were unique to me that maybe people have kind of glossed over. And I kind of I think I'm bringing that a little bit to my Timbers coverage because I said in the first story that I wrote, I don't know soccer super well, but I'm good at my job and I know sports. And there's been some pretty fun stories to tell, but it's getting to a point with the Timbers right now, though, too, where I think they've lost 3 matches in a row. You're finally getting a little adversity. So Tyson finally gets to see what it's like to be in a press conference with a coach at a professional level when things aren't going well. So, yeehaw.
So Tyson's excited about that, correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's actually the other thing, though, we do, too, is Tyson only talks in third person.
I like that.
Tyson's getting upset.
Tyson's tired. It's early.
Look, I've enjoyed it. I've been a subscriber since you launched the website. I go to it every day to check what you guys are doing over there. I think you're doing a great job. And I love that so many journalists now are like, you know what? To hell with the system. Let's just create our own thing. So it's great. And I don't mean to be this guy. But going back to college football very quickly, can I ask you, who in the Big Ten, we know Ohio State is kind of the SEC version of it, right? It just means more is what Oregon fan is learning about Columbus, Ohio. Michigan, new coach, losing a lot of guys. They've got some guys coming back on defense, but they're losing a lot of players on the offensive line at skill positions. And the new coach thing, you just never know, is it going to flow like Shaw did from Harbaugh? Or is Sharon Moore going to struggle and not be David Shaw? Outside of Ohio State, who do you view right now in April as the biggest threat to Oregon within the Big Ten next season?
Oh man, that is a tough question. Because I think it's going to be Oregon and Ohio State. I don't think anybody from the Pac-12 that's coming over is ready to compete. Washington's going to take a step back. USC is reloading at skill positions, but that defense doesn't exist. I think it's going to take far more than a year to patch that thing up. Ohio State's going to be peaking. Michigan's a bit of a question. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be Oregon, Ohio State, and Michigan, and maybe throw in Penn State in there too. Yeah. But it's one of those things where this is the absolute perfect time for this merger to happen for the Ducks because you are losing Bo Nix, but this isn't a transitional year for Oregon. The rest of the roster has kind of risen, and you are replacing a 15,000-yard career passing yard quarterback with a guy with 14,000 career yards, and that's not necessarily apples to apples. And you can't say that Dylan Gabriel is going to be exactly who Bo Nix was, but I think Oregon's window is in the process of opening wider. Whereas I don't think the rest of the 3 other Pac-12 teams are necessarily transitioning with that sort of momentum right now.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Listeners are commenting, why does Tyson look younger? Is he using a body double? I think it's just the 1080 The Fan glow, baby.
I think it is.
I put on 15 filters on here.
Yes, I love that.
I was kind of hoping you'd show up with one of those.
I haven't smoked my morning pack a day yet. This is 8 a.m. This is early for me, baby.
I was kind of hoping we were going to get you with one of those weird, when you log into a Zoom call and people have those weird, awkward backgrounds. I was kind of he's just going to be floating at sea, just out in the middle of nowhere.
Can I admit?
I'm actually in a club right now. This is just a green screen background to make it look like that we're professional.
Can I admit something here in our little circle of trust?
No, nobody's listening. This is private.
No, we're good.
I don't mean this as a negative per se, but you do strike me as I catch you at a dive bar at 1 a.m. smoking a heater. Do I have that right, or did I have that right at some point?
Well, not if I have to be on Dirt Sprague at 8 a.m.
That's right.
But
that's responsible.
I've been wandered upon too, upon on at that hour.
Tyson and I maybe have done that in the same night.
Yeah, and I live up here in St. John's too. Like, there's no nice bars in St. John's. Other than my guy at Lombard House, but he doesn't stay open that late. Anyways.
Yeah, he closes early because there's the dive bars in that neighborhood are fantastic. By the way,
they are underrated. Yes.
Last one for you, Tyson. We got in a very heated debate after the show yesterday. And argued for like legitimately an hour, and I want to see who you piss off and whose side you're on.
I just ask him. Don't throw out.
I'm just gonna. Do you want me to do the poll question or just an open ended?
Just an open ended.
Okay. Yeah. Tyson Alger is planning a trip to the Oregon coast. Okay, for however long or short you want it to be. You're going to the Oregon coast for a vacation with whoever you want, friends, family, dog, whatever. Right? Where's the number one destination?
Lincoln City.
Lincoln City.
He likes to smoke cigarettes. Of course he's going to a casino.
The place for the casino.
You can smoke inside.
Is casino the argument for Lincoln City?
Because in Lincoln City, you can go smoke your cigarette. If you have some family in town, you can like pretend that things are going well by going up to whatever that resort is there with the golf course.
Yeah.
But like it gives, I come from small town Alaska, guys. I don't need fancy. Just give me some water and a beach, and like we'll be fine. The corridor isn't doing well enough for like Florence to be my favorite town. Like we'll get there eventually, guys. But like right now, like we're a Lincoln City substat.
You keep up the Timbers coverage. We're on our way to Florence. That's our new talking point. I love it. I-5 Corridor, man. It's awesome. One of the best local outlets for sports stories that you can find, i5corridor.com. Tyson Alger is the man behind it. Good friend of the program, at Tyson Alger on Twitter. I can't think of a better guinea pig to have to test out this. It actually works, so thank you so much for waking up.
Man.
Thanks for coming on and being flexible, and we always love chatting with you. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you so much.
There you go. Tyson Alger of the I-5 corridor. Now it becomes a question of how quickly
do we know how to get out of it?
Do we change the screen, or does his Zoom call just remain up?
I'm watching it right now, and you're at so obviously we're lagging on the stream.
YouTube feed's a little bit behind what the actual on-air is.
Yeah.
So I will see how long. Is he still on the YouTube stream? Is he off?
He's still on there as far as I'm still looking. Okay, it went black.
Okay. There you go.
So it's just us and a black screen.
Hey,
so when I said thanks or whatever, and so then, but
it switched back.
When he clicked off, it went black, and then I switched the commercial thing.
Did the listeners enjoy? I hope the listeners enjoyed that. You can actually see a face with a guest.
We needed to test it.
We needed to try it out, and it actually worked.
I actually told Joe, because he was like, well, is his camera going to be centered up? Or I go, it would actually be hilarious if it sort of worked the first time.
Yes.
Like,
you just see the forehead and above. That's all you get
like
of
that,
him.
or from his neck down or something. I said that would actually be hilarious. So we know that the technology works, but we don't know how to operate it. That would be classic.
Certainly not from an intelligence standpoint, but I comp me and Joey. I'm Tony Stark, and he's Bruce Banner.
Yes.
He wants to test and be a scientist and wait and wait and wait. And I'm like, yo, bro, the world's ending.
Let's go.
Let's just do this. I don't have the patience to wait another week. I wanted to test it. Thanks to Tyson for doing it. And Swag, I know. Learning these things on the fly, you woke up not knowing you were going to do this. And so thanks to everybody behind the scenes, too.
It worked well. That was a lot of fun. Thanks to Tyson. And I agree with this Big Ten take, too. To me, it seems like a two-team conference next year.
I see. My only thing, I was kind of
maybe Drew Aller and Penn State surprises. Maybe that's the one.
That's the wild card. I don't mean to disrespect Michigan. We'll see what Michigan is. I'm sure eventually we're going to pick up Michigan followers.
I mean, it's just a big question mark. It's a new quarterback. They're losing so many guys to the NFL. Their head coach is gone. I know Moore coached their biggest games this year outside of the playoff and title game, but that's a lot to replace.
Yeah, well, Jack Harbaugh and Sharon Moore were basically the coach last year, not Jim.
Jack Harbaugh.
We'll see what Michigan is. I think it's Penn State. I think if you were to identify a third team that can press and surprise, I know we both kind of agree on Franklin, but Aller might take a step this year. They've got talent. Did they play Oregon this year?
Oregon and Penn State do not play.
So you avoid that. If Penn State...
They play Washington, but they get them, I think it's in Seattle.
Yeah, but Penn State's probably going to be slight favorite in that.
Yep,
we'll see.
I would imagine so.
I think it's Penn State.
All right. Thanks again to Tyson. Glad that worked. Hope the YouTube audience enjoyed it. We're trying to, ramp things up a little bit and get creative. I'm glad it worked out.